My girlfriend and I both love skiing, which is actually how we met. Last year, during our vacation, we decided to rent a one-bedroom cabin near Vail Mountain in Colorado through Airbnb. A friend had suggested a private cabin for a more intimate, quiet, and romantic getaway. After we landed at the airport, we took a taxi to a car rental place and picked up a Honda Civic, which was probably the most affordable choice. Then we drove uphill for what seemed like ages, with slushy roads all around, until we finally turned off the main road onto a narrow wooded side road. Eventually, we reached the cabin, which was far enough from anyone else to feel isolated, but still close enough to the mountain that it wouldn't be too inconvenient for skiing. The owner had left the key hidden in the mailbox, and when we unlocked the door and stepped inside, we were hit with that unmistakable smell of wood. Exactly what you'd expect from a cabin. It wasn't huge, but it was cozy, with a bedroom, a bathroom, a living room with a TV, and a small kitchen. It was affordable too, so I was happy with the place, especially since we were there to ski and not to spend a lot of time in the cabin. We arrived late in the day, so we didn't make it to the slopes that night. Instead, we unpacked and went back out to pick up a pizza for dinner. We returned to the cabin, ate on the couch, and settled in to watch a movie. The atmosphere was perfect, dim lighting, the rustic log cabin feel. It actually felt pretty romantic. That's when things started to get a little weird. My girlfriend started panicking because her bag wasn't where she left it, on the coffee table in the living room. She was absolutely sure she had left it there, and she was freaking out, searching the living room, the bathroom, and the kitchen. I checked the bedroom, and sure enough, there it was, sitting next to the bed. I brought it out with a smirk, thinking it was just a simple mistake, but instead of being relieved, she accused me of moving her bag and going through it. I was taken aback, thinking it was a bit over the top, but we argued until I convinced her that she had simply forgotten where she put it. Eventually, we dropped the issue and went back to watching the movie, laughing it off. The next day, we hit the slopes from early morning till dusk, then stopped to grab dinner again on our way back to the cabin. When we arrived, we immediately noticed that the living room light was on. My girlfriend was on edge, but I reassured her, pointing out that the front door was still locked, so no one could have broken in. I assumed one of us had left the light on by mistake and just hadn't noticed earlier because it had been so bright out. We sat down and started eating. But then, out of nowhere, my girlfriend shrieked. I jumped up, looking at her, and she was covering her mouth with one hand, pointing at something on the floor with the other. At first, I didn't see anything, but as I moved closer, I noticed boot marks in the rug in the corner of the living room. The marks were fresh, and there was snow from the boots that had melted into wet stains. I didn't remember stepping over there with my boots, so I started to get worried. My girlfriend, clearly freaked out, asked me to check the cabin to make sure we were alone. So I went around, checking under the kitchen table, behind the couch, in the bathroom, and in the bedroom. There was no sign of anyone else in the cabin. It wasn't like there were many places to hide anyway, but she was still scared. She went to the bathroom to brush her teeth and then changed in the bedroom. I heard her climb into bed, so I followed suit. We turned off the light and laid there for a while, talking. It wasn't even 10 p.m., but she kept mentioning how uncomfortable she felt, thinking that someone was in the cabin. Trying to reassure her, I said I'd call the Airbnb post to check in. I pulled out my phone, dialed the number, and as the phone rang, I heard a strange, muffled ringing coming from behind the wall next to the bed. It wasn't coming from the phone, it was coming from the wall. As soon as I saw the call was rejected, the ringing stopped. My girlfriend immediately started screaming, and I told her to calm down as I got up and approached the wall. I noticed a tiny crack in the wall that looked like it could be some kind of hidden door. My girlfriend screamed at me not to open it, but I was already too frustrated and scared. I angrily yanked open the door, and to my shock, I found a small hidden closet. Inside, behind a cardboard box, was a man, hiding. It was the cabin owner. the guy from the Airbnb listing. I froze for a second, completely startled, and I'm pretty sure I screamed too. Anger quickly overtook my fear, and I grabbed him by the shirt and pulled him out. The guy seemed to be apologizing, but I was beyond angry at this point. He looked just like his photo, and he clearly wasn't right in the head. As I pulled him out, I noticed something even more disturbing. Some of my girlfriend's underwear in the closet. I was disgusted. We waited far too long for the police to arrive, but they eventually did, and the guy was arrested. We were forced to spend the rest of the night at a hotel, and the next day we packed up and headed home. I requested compensation from Airbnb, and it took them about a month to refund me. But they did eventually. This whole ordeal was so bizarre and unsettling that I don't expect everyone to believe me, but it was completely real. To this day, I can't shake the image of finding that hidden closet and the man lurking inside. I'll never look at Airbnb the same way again.